Quarterback Derek Anderson made this one mistake on Monday Night Football, and it ruined his career.
But when you're down 18 points and you've had 5 first downs, I want it to bother you, Ron.
You think about players, you're losing, you're getting beaten badly, you're on the bench laughing during the game. Would that upset you?
I would have beat his butt or killed him.
Really?
It wasn't funny. I wasn't laughing about anything.
The camera showed you laughing.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Coach Gruden
That's fine.
commented about it.
That's fine. That's fine.
Anderson was supposed to be a career backup, but his determination led him to beating out 2 first-round pick quarterbacks on 2 different teams, Browns QB Brady Quinn from Notre Dame and Cardinals QB Matt Leinart of USC. He was a bright spot in a sad era for the Cleveland Browns, leading the franchise to their first 10-win season in 13 years. Towards the end of his career, he matured, mentoring one of the best QBs in the modern NFL, Josh Allen. However, the Portland, Oregon native's fiery personality in 2010 clashed with the shift in NFL media coverage, where players' every word and facial expressions are exhaustively analyzed.
I'm real serious. I put my heart and soul into this every single week.
All I'm saying is the camera showed
I'm
you
just telling you right now what I do every single week. Every single week.
Even on his way out in Cleveland, he said the fans there do not deserve a winner. This story is an example of why NFL players today hardly say anything at press conferences. Not too long ago, in 2010, players like Anderson used to wear their hearts on their sleeve. But today, it's important to be cautious because in the blink of an eye, one viral clip, one rant could ruin everything. After being selected in the 6th round by the Baltimore Ravens in 2005, Anderson was released a few weeks into the season and then claimed by the Cleveland Browns. Unfortunately for Anderson, his 2 head coaches in his Cleveland era, Romeo Crennel and then later Eric Mangini, both were indecisive with the quarterback position. They both swapped starting quarterbacks like pairs of underwear. If there is a silver lining to these fickle coaches, it is that Anderson received great opportunities that usually don't happen for late round QBs. In 2007, he entered into a QB battle with the veteran Charlie Frye and new first round pick out of Notre Dame, Brady Quinn.
With the 22nd pick in the NFL 2000 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Brady Quinn, quarterback, Notre Dame.
The QB battle narrowed down to Frye and Anderson, but it was so close that head coach Romeo Crennel used a coin flip to decide who starts certain preseason games. That year, the Browns waited until the last minute to name Charlie Frye the starter, but Frye was so bad that he was benched for Anderson in the first quarter and then traded to the Seahawks just 2 days after the embarrassing performance. The following week, Anderson matched a Browns franchise record with 5 TD passes in a win over Carson Palmer and the Cincinnati Bengals. He officially earned his first victory and was named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. What followed next was a magical 2007 season that Browns fans will never forget. Although the team narrowly missed the playoffs, Anderson would lead Cleveland to their first 10-win season in 13 years. He was named to the Pro Bowl, and it felt like the Browns may have found their diamond in the rough QB. The Browns re-signed Anderson with a huge 3-year contract worth $27 million, $14 million of that fully guaranteed. This made him one of the highest paid QBs annually at the time. Fans were confused because they assumed the first-round pick Brady Quinn would take over the following season. But the large investment in Anderson made it seem like their first-round pick quarterback would ride the bench during his entire Browns rookie contract. However, everything started going downhill for the Browns organization and Derek Anderson the following 2008 season. At one point, fans heckled the team's general manager via email, and the GM did not hold back in his response. He wrote to these fans, "Go root for Buffalo, F you." The Browns had another QB carousel as Brady Quinn competed with Derek Anderson. Anderson was the starter week 1, but eventually benched for Brady Quinn in November. However, the indecisive head coach Crennel benched Brady Quinn for Anderson after the quarterback went scoreless. The Browns ended up last in the division, and the QB drama would continue the following 2009 season under new head coach Eric Mangini. It took the coach forever to name a starting QB, and before the season started, he claimed he intends to stick with that choice. Of course, that did not happen. But at a certain point, fan frustration was more so directed at Anderson instead of Brady Quinn. Quinn, being younger, was more of an unproven commodity. Chance called for the young quarterback to start after some poor performance.
Extra point and chance of Brady Quinn are cascading down from the upper deck. Terrell Suggs.
Derek Anderson eventually lost his job to Brady Quinn in 2009, but he is still considered the third best Browns QB from the year 2000 to 2018, with the second most pass TDs and passing yards behind only Tim Couch. Anderson had some blunt words for Browns fans as he was released prior to the 2010 season. He blasted the fan base, saying the fans are ruthless and don't deserve a winner. In emails to the press, he wrote, "I will never forget getting cheered when I was injured." It seems like he noticed Browns fans celebrate his injuries as they demanded Quinn to start. The Arizona Cardinals were being led by Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner during the last few years of his career. They reached the Super Bowl during the 2008 season, but lost to Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The next 2009 season, they were knocked out of the divisional round of the playoffs by the New Orleans Saints. Kurt Warner immediately retired afterwards, leaving a hole at the quarterback position. Many thought the former Cardinals 2006 first-round pick quarterback from USC, Matt Leinart, would take over, until Derek Anderson stepped in. The Cardinals signed Anderson to a 2-year deal as an insurance policy ended up being worth it. The head coach, Ken Wisenhunt, announced Matt Leinart's release before the start of the regular season. Anderson's only competition at quarterback were late-round draft pick rookies, so it seemed like he was riding high after Cleveland. He was the starting quarterback going into week 1 and working with a head coach in Wisenhunt who had recently appeared in the Super Bowl. But Anderson felt unprepared going into the season. Leinart had received most of the first-team reps in training camp before he was released. When reflecting on this season years later, Anderson said, "It's hard enough to win in this league when you get a whole spring and a whole training camp with guys, let alone a week and a half." After 4 weeks into the season, Anderson experienced yet another QB carousel. He was benched in favor of rookie Max Hall despite having a 2-2 record. Then the Cardinals turned back to Anderson after the rookie struggled. So his frustration started brewing as he dealt with another indecisive coach and felt his career spiraling downwards. This all reached a tipping point in Week 12 on Monday Night Football against the San Francisco 49ers. The Cardinals were down 18 points in the fourth quarter against a 49ers team that had been struggling and relying on backup quarterback Troy Smith. What would happen next would be a viral moment that finally put the nail in the coffin of the 27-year-old quarterback's career.
Effort. And late in the game, the cameras, as you'll see here on the sidelines, catch a picture of Derek Anderson, the quarterback, and Deuce Latuya lineman, and there's a smile on his face. And
Derek Anderson was caught laughing on the sideline at home in Arizona, down 18 points on prime time Monday Night Football for the entire world to see. This clip was shown multiple times on several networks, going absolutely viral. Former head coach and popular announcer at the time, John Gruden, was the first to point this out.
But when you're down 18 points and you've had 5 first downs, I want it to bother you, Ron.
This moment ended up being a pop culture phenomenon, where it was even referenced on Jimmy Kimmel's talk show with former basketball star and NFL investor Magic Johnson.
Or you think about players, you're losing, you're getting beaten badly, you're on the bench laughing during the game. Would that upset you?
I would have beat his butt or killed him.
Really?
The clip itself may not have been that big of a deal, but the post-game press conference where Derek Anderson blew up at a reporter made things worse.
Nobody else's business.
But why was something funny when you're down 18 points in the fourth quarter?
It wasn't funny. I wasn't laughing about anything.
The camera showed you laughing.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Coach Gruden
That's fine.
commented about it.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm not laughing about it. You think this is funny? I take the serious.
I'm
real serious. I put my heart and soul into this every single week.
All I'm saying is the camera showed
I'm just telling you right now what I do every single week. Every single week. I put my freaking heart and soul into this. I study my ass off. I don't go out there and laugh. It's not funny. It's not fun. Nothing's funny to me. I don't want to go out there and get embarrassed on Monday Night Football in front of everybody.
That's why I'm asking you what.
I'm telling you right now. We're talking. Deuce and I are talking.
What was the context in
I'm
which?
done. Sorry. I'm not dealing with him. Sorry.
Not only did the sideline footage go viral, but this press conference rant would go down as one of the most epic tirades in not only NFL history, but sports history altogether. Anderson reflected on this situation years later, saying, quote, "They, the Cardinals, could have given me a heads up going into it. It turns out the Cardinals organization failed to notify him that the sideline clip was going viral before he took the press conference podium." What's hilarious is that the Cardinals' poor QB situation forced the head coach to defend him. Wisenhunt declared that the starting job was still Anderson's despite the tirade. However, this did make sense. Viral moments like this were a new phenomenon for the NFL in 2010. YouTube had only been around for 5 years. Twitter existed for only 4 years. Derek Anderson apologized at his next press conference and referenced the social media app, saying, quote, "Let's try to do this in a manner that doesn't end up all over YouTube if we can." Anderson was the laughingstock of the NFL for a while, but many teammates thought he was unfairly treated by the media and that they were exaggerating the situation. Cardinals running back Tim Hightower defended him, saying, quote, "People don't realize exactly how much pressure he has on his shoulders. For people to point the finger at him and say he's the problem, it's easy to point out the problem when you haven't walked a mile in that guy's shoes." This support was not enough to keep Anderson the following season. In 2011, the Cardinals acquired Eagles quarterback Kevin Kolb via trade. Shortly afterwards, they released Derek Anderson. The QB would never be a starter for another NFL team ever again. 13 years later, he called the Cardinals organization one of the most dysfunctional, claiming they nickel and dime players for food. Oddly enough, Derek Anderson's next stop would be the longest of his entire career. He signed with the Carolina Panthers, where he would back up quarterback Cam Newton from 2011 to 2017. He only played a few times whenever Cam Newton was injured, but he truly embraced his role as a backup QB. You could often spot the two quarterbacks leaping into the air, celebrating big plays. In 2018, Anderson signed with the Buffalo Bills to mentor up-and-coming QB Josh Allen. He reunited with former Panthers assistant GM Brandon Beane, who is now the Bills general manager. Beane brought in Anderson to show Allen how to be a pro. Unfortunately, while filling in for an injured Josh Allen, he suffered a concussion. This led to Anderson officially retiring after a 14-year career in the NFL. He was supposed to come back the next season and work with former Browns teammate quarterback Ken Dorsey, who was set to be the Bills' QB coach. Anderson expressed disappointment when he retired, saying, quote, "I felt like I was letting them down. I was all in and trained until the last minute. I had a blast the short time I was there, but my body, mentally, the concussion, I just couldn't do it." This story is similar to a lot of journeyman QBs, where it's an open question as to whether or not he is to blame for his lack of success or the Browns and Cardinals. He is still considered one of the most iconic one-hit wonders in NFL history. But most people will remember him for his viral sideline laughter and his epic tirade during the post-game press conference. Anderson was caught in the era where the NFL was transitioning into more of a media circus with the ascendance of social media platforms like YouTube and Twitter. He was one of the few players we've seen truly wear his heart on his sleeve when talking to the press. Nowadays, players cautiously walk on eggshells, and every statement they say is calculated. With social media platforms becoming decades old and every statement being clipped out of context, it makes you wonder, will there ever be another Derek Anderson?